For the leadership of the AND Global Project, the AND Global Association of Agents of Change. 4.1 Which is the main function of the Global Association of Agents of Change? The main function of the Global Association is the survival of the humanity. The survival of the humanity is the raise of new generations through global plans. This needs 1. The design of global plans and then personalized plans for each global communities and their particular conditions. 2. Then monitoring of the management of the plan by the community, to guarantee their success. 3. The capture and motivation of agents of change to take the leadership of the Global Association in their countries and communities. 4.1.1 Global Successful Plans requires personalization and monitoring until success. A global plan to be successful must be personalized for each region and community, to their own ecosystems, available resources, and respect to their culture. Once the plans are created, the second step is the motivation and organization for their execution. Finally, the monitoring and feedback for adjustments until the successful execution of plans. 4.1.2 The work of giving communities the plans and the tools to get they help themselves. The Global Project and Global Association are created to increase the help in each global problem, and they create structure to help people to help. His responsibility is create and structure to help, but is not his responsibility to help. Each group, each person, each family, each culture, each society must help themselves. They must create their own local global association to coordinate the local work. 4.2 What is the Global Association of Agents of Change? The responsibility to raise new generations. 4.2.1 The Global Association is a global decentralized business. The Global Association can join resources to buy patents to reduce the price of new massive global products. The Global Association and local association must pay salaries, and be responsible by themselves of themselves, is part of the global social values. If they are universities, they can offer service of specialties. If they are club, they offer service to meet members, etc. If most of the time their resource are free, is because some members can help free, but any extra work or addition must be analyzed, quoted, and charged. 4.2.2 A family. The Global Association is a global family, caring mutually in a voluntary way under global plans. The Global Association is the global social institution of the humanity, based on the responsibility of returning to the next generations what you received from the previous generations, working and/or sacrificing themselves to guarantee the next generations to survive. 4.3 Who are the local global associations? The members and requirement to become a member of a global association and the identification. Is any individual, community, institution or business who decides to be an agent of change and/or execute the global plans of the global association. 4.3.1 Country/states. Each country and state by default are members of the global association, because the global association recognizes their authority and asks permission to operate in their region. 4.3.1.1 The presence of the security agencies of each country is accepted as part of the respect to their leadership. Every country, every government has their own secrets that want to keep, they do not want to be investigated. By default, a secret agency is amoral, they are not good or bad, they do what their current government requires, for different purposes from protecting the image of the country, their interests, their presidents, etc. 4.3.2 Individuals requires to be a local or global agent of change. The requirement to become an agent of change is to make a social change, in any specialty, mathematics, medicine, music, etc. Once you are recognized as an agent of change, you are registered in the Global Association and receive an identification. That identification is unique, and can be rented or sell. You have ranking depending the level of social change you had done, local in your community, in your country or globally. Depending on that you have different access and you can contact agent of changes of your level or lower. 4.3.3 Institutions, business, universities, non-governmental association. An institution, any business, university, or any other public or private group, with the main requirement and compromise to help in the execution of global plan, can participate under a regimentation. 4.3.4 Communities. The community decides to act independently or integrate to the global association and project in the choice and execution of plans. Any community by default is a member, because a global project includes all communities with some exceptions for the security to their members, like the aggressive communities who can accuse, curse, attack, poison members, uses part of the body of humans for rituals, etc. 4.3.5 The ranking of agent of change in the global associations. An agent of change receive a ranking based on 1. The range of change. If you make a social change locally in your community, your culture, your society, your state, your country, or globally, then you have a rank of agent of change of community, of culture, of society, of state, of country, or global. 2. The annual activity to receive benefits. 3. The profession and other abilities. That ranks allows to filtering their presence in clubs for global agents of change. The filtering is important for the clubs to be successful in attracting members, for getting better teamworks and for protecting them. 4.4 Which are the strategies of the Global Association? The Global Association has the strategy of the global project, a positive global sociology, and focus in strategy, professionals in all the specialties and history to reach their goals. There are global decentralized committees for each one of them to get help when developing plans and interacting with communities. 4.4.1 The respect to the leadership of each country is absolute, because it guarantees the acceptance of the global association globally. Starting in the way the local association and communities are structured, the projects and how they are executed, until the way the relation and permission that must be asked, everything is respected. The local leadership of a country defines the regimentation of the relation between the global association and that country. Of course, the global association can negotiate, but can't surrender, because his goal is the survival of the humanity. The global association must negotiate. 4.5 The freedom of choice of local global associations. The global association are completely decentralized and autonomous. Their money, their investments, and all their resources belongs to each and global association, and they manage them as they want. They have a very few restriction and regimentation on it, and they can negotiate them. 4.5.1 The decision to support to one or another a plan is a decision of each global association and community. They can accept, reject, or request another plan to execute. 4.5.2 The personalization of the global associations around the world and the treasure of each global association. Depending the kind of members, they will decide how to organize internally each global association. That means you should read their rules before interact with them. It is part 2 of the development of the individuality of the group that work in that global association, that makes each global association unique, as a person is unique. Each association has his identity, his history, a knowledge that makes them unique, that is stored as his treasure and is shared to other global associations. The treasure is a mechanism to force to set the unique identity an association has. 4.5.3 The right of freedom of choice of the plans each global association will execute locally. One essential right is to give the greatest freedom to each global association and their members, in the decision of the plans they will execute. You must understand all the time there is going to exist poor people, wars, slavery, and all kind of abuses, people in emergencies, many urgent tasks that must be done globally in migration, food, and water, people dying of illness, etc. And there are limited resources for that. That means you have to choose who to help and who do not help, and that is a decision each global association decide. The only thing the global association can do is a clear proposal of the global plans and an explanation why each local global association should execute them. If the local association decides to execute global proposed plans, is his responsibility the consequences to accept them, because non-global association is forced to accept the execution of any global plan. 4.5.4 The act of helping is a voluntary and sacrificed effort of members of a global associations. The goal is each group and culture help themselves, and if they receive help from themselves, from other cultures or from the global project and association is because they want to help them. It never was his responsibility in the global project and association to help. The responsibility of each one is help themselves and their groups. The global association is the state of maturity a human reach at any age, 8, 25, 45, or 70 years, understanding we are a family, a culture, a planet, and as an adult now we have the responsibility to protect and raise the younger members, the new generations. The global association is in his foundations is an organization to give. If you give and does not receive gratitude, then it means it's time to give gratitude to those who helped you and you didn't appreciate it. Is the creation of new voluntary social values like the impulse to raise orphans in the retirement instead of using your money in enjoying your old age, taking long journeys and going on vacations, is a new global of the creation of responsibility of a global community of children raising with great needs around the world. 4.6 The creation of personalized plans based on precise information is required for the success of the global plans. The global project focus in-house and community. Additionally to the type of risk for the survival of the humanity, each plan can be categorized by another characteristic that can be crucial for their success. A plan for food is different for a single person, friends, families, or the whole community. The same way is the type of structure, a building of several floors, access to the roof, direct sun exposure, if they have garden or kitchen, etc. One of the main problem in the current plans we have for human needs is there are plans, but they does not fit the specific situation, their economic situation, or they are not shared, and that cause that plans to be unusable for the majority of people. 4.6.1 By groups. A single individual, a group of friends, a family, a group of families, a community, a country. 4.6.2 By structures. The structure where the plan will be executed, a room, the roof, and balcony, the house, the garden, the community. 4.6.3 By environment. Temperature, humidity, soil, vegetation, oxygenation, hours of sun exposure per day per season, height about sea level, etc. 4.7 Certification as global community of the global project of foresight and responsibility, means responsibility in selection, coordination, and execution of plan. The certification as global community, means, the plans must be personalized for the community and the plan must be managed with a local association of that country, to guarantee his proper and successful execution. This means, if you decide to seed hundreds of trees, there must be an analysis if they are correct for the wildlife, the ecosystem where you live, the current conditions of weather, when to seed them and the procedure of irrigation, protection, and monitoring to get them alive, and who will do that. A community decides to be a global community or get and execute plans in other ways. 4.7.1 The need of local associations with local professionals that adequate plans for their communities and coordinate regionally the plans. Is important the existence of local global associations that analyze the plans and adequate them to the local needs, resources, materials, etc. They must coordinate their work to regionally. This means, the process of seed trees impact the whole region, and there must be a plan for the reforestation of the region, a plan that is planning area for farming, areas protected for wildlife, etc. 4.8 The Japanese global social behavior of the global association is the basement of the global association. The Japanese social behavior is the model of social behavior, and it is the essence of the global association. The positive global culture is the basement that allow the existence of the global association. Without it, it will not work. 4.8.1 The language of respect to older and leaders inside the global association. For younger members, there is always an equilibrium. To receive you must give. Younger members must have a behavior of respect to higher positions and older members. An organization of this kind requires the dedication and sacrifice of many members, and the respect is the way to express gratitude for their work. For older members is the dedication, the example, patience, protection, education, and care of new generations. 4.9 The workers of the Global Association are the global agents of change, and the Global Association needs to attract them. The Global Association is managed by the global agent of change. The reason is they have the motivation to work hard and mobilize people to change the world. The global agents of change has a complicated profile and inner strength and desire of perfection that is necessary for the global change to succeed. That profile can prejudice the process of change, so they need guidance too. The global agent of change are generally raised as unique children, that cause to be selfish, immature, greedy, capricious, perfectionist with a great dream, and a great inner strength to get it and change the world in the process. They can gather immense amount of money and power for themselves, but at the end they return it to the humanity. For that reason, the Global Association becomes too like private club to attract them with services, products, information, and offer of work, to attract and keep them. 4.9.1 The capture and protection of new agents of change. Recently a young woman was killed by his family because she fought for the rights of women, but she put in shame to his family. The same is for people who fight directly the mafia. If an agent of change would had contacted her, and explained how work the social change, the social values of respect she must have to his family, she would be alive and making the difference. The identification, capture, training and protection of new agents of change is a responsibility of the Global Association, that must be fulfilled voluntarily, with the available resource. Of course this will not be always possible, but it must be done in the way the members can. 4.10 The functions of the Global Association. 4.10.1 A command center to coordinate the execution of global projects in global communities. The work of the Global Project and Association are global projects done in people through their communities. 4.10.2 Global Association as a private club for agents of change. To attract members, the Global Association is a club, with private investment who create and offer different services for agents of change. They offer a place to interact with similar agents of change. A place to offer and buy products, services, investigations, information, etc. restricted only to members. 4.10.3 A castle to organize agents of change in a social war, your second family. The agent of change are a target for mafia, to kidnap important people, to block social changes, to revenge for protecting their victims. It is not a simple club, it is an organization that requires a tight protection and organization internal and externally. Their members must be aware permanently and take care of themselves and other members. The local global association can become your second family that help and care mutually. In a country where the mafia is very active, is a castle, where agents of change plan and organize their protection, the protection of their families and their business. In a moment where the mafia is raising globally as a single organization, the Global Association is a second family that has the strength to confront the mafia and criminal groups and survive in the intent. To belong to a global association, means a family. This is the real world, where the strong rules. And at the same time it is a place to learn, to train, and to organize your second family, and change the world. 4.11 The social strategic games of the Global Association. For entertainment of the members, to get some information useful for business strategies, to identify aggressor and stalkers, and for other reasons, the Global Association has globally some strategic games. They are tested and accepted or rejected in each global association depending the vision and the way their members want to work in the global association. 4.11.1 Track of all activity on any global association. Any association from their beginning until their end has a history registered in the global association without public access to all the information, but allows identifying abnormal situation. It helps. In example, if you want to create a global association in an area with special conditions, you don't have to start from zero. 4.11.2 The usage of the mail provided by the Global Association. The Global Association provides a mail to members, so they can use them. For Global Association, this mail is public for members, but people must pay to read it. There will be a register of people who read that mails. The sender and receptor can see that information. If member want a private mail, then he can use other options. The same Global Association will provide with the option to be or not to be stored in the Global Association. An agent of change who is in problems can request to allow a copy of their mail be stored in the Global Association, so if something happens to him, in example a journalist investigating something, will leave to other agent of change the latest information he had got. 4.11.3 The sale of the identity an agent of change receive. Once the agent of change is accepted by the Global Association, he receives a credential. The member can receive only once that identification. The identification for individual that are agents of change receive, is what allows him to enter in the Global Association. This identification can be sell. The reason of this game is avoid agent of change to be forced by criminals to make illegal activity, stole or buy to make that illegal activity. Once the identification is sell, the agent of change lose his rights in the Global Association, but the transaction must be registered in the Global Association, and the new owner receive all the rights and benefits. The face and name of the identification is the original agent of change, but the current photo and name of the owner of the identification can be obtained from the Global Association online or from a local database. The reason of this is the strategy of the association to allow movements, instead of restrict them. If an associated decide to sell, it can be a genuine decision or not, but is an alert to be investigated. In the other hand, it allows people who never could enter to the project to enter, then why to allow a person to gather that information to use incorrectly? The reality is the reality. The agent of change die, are jailed, prosecuted, murdered, etc. Giving a formal mechanism to it to happen, allowing the association represent the reality, allows to detect easily activity that will happen in another way. They could menace in the same way other member to get that benefits, then allowing to buy a membership, of some member, avoid a number of scenarios not allowed. The reality of an agent of change is hard, and it is going to be hard inside and outside of the association. The importance of the association is that when gathering several agent of changes makes more difficult to be hunt one, and if someone hunts one, to have a structure that leaves traces to investigate. 4.12 Benefits of membership. The introductory formation the members can after receiving his identification in personal defense, negotiation and other abilities to be effective agents of change. The goal of this formation is to protect the agents of change, because they are usually persecuted and killed, and they must learn to take care of themselves. Information available in clubs of the Global Association. Interaction with other members of the project under specific conditions and normative. Participation in the decision of the project, in different levels according to the level of membership. Legal support, information, and support in patents. Market of job. Market to share or buy and sell investigation/information. If another agent of change want to hire someone, investigations done and presented in the Global Association can help to find a job. 4.12.1 Restriction to interaction between members. The goal of a club is the benefit to contact with other members, and there will be restrictions for undesirable contacts a member has with others. The member set specifically the characteristics of the contact he allows. That means another member who desire to contact him must check that considerations before contacting. Any who violates that specification will have to pay a monetary and/or expulsion. The project will register abnormal contacts with members, especially to allow malicious contacts, to detect some menace to specific members of the association. 4.13 The responsibilities and rights of each and global association on each country and region. 4.13.1 Nobody can impose any responsibility of any type to any global association. Nobody can impose any responsibility of any type to any global association. To accept a responsibility is a decision a global association takes, but once he accepts he is responsible to execute it. in the best way they can. The Global Association has a very long list of tasks that are not executed by each association, depending the functions and responsibilities the Global Association accepts, then they are responsible to execute them. That responsibility is self-imposed, is a compromise of a group of people to do something they can renounce to. 4.13.2 Management of problems in the execution of plan in communities. 1. The design of community work, in example, in cultures where people is accused of curse and magic, and can be accuse other members of the community in case of failure. 2. Help in problem of specific members in executing plans or producing product repeatedly and solving his situation to get food and fulfill his responsibilities in the global community. 4.13.3 Global Industry. 1. They have the responsibility to analyze the topics of adjustment of the local industry, explained in the Title 09 Global Industry of this analysis. 4.13.4 Helping in the economy and income of the members of the communities and global association, inside the global association. The local association, or a single member, can choose to get copyrights and sell that information to other associations, or give it free. The association must help in the quantification of the price of the work and the type of copyright on the work before publishing online. 4.14 Motivation and prizes to global associations. The global project and association has to develop mechanisms to motivate and compensate in some way the efforts in the execution global plans. 4.14.1 Annual missions, plans, and the global ranking of stars to promote execution of projects. To promote the activity, each mission, project, has a score and a ranking that will show a group of statistics of the year and life activity, count of project, number of people helped, relative importance of project, etc. From all that, there will be a percentage of stars the global association will win. Obviously, there will be disagree with the points and the ranking, but it is part of the fun. The important is a register that show the activity of an association in benefit of the humanity. The stars they get for participating will have benefits in some activities, like priority on support or donors, because they will give the feeling they care the work the global association and project does, and that always become mutual in some way. 4.15 The standard software infrastructure each association requires to share and manage plans with global communities. Is mandatory a public and standard software to manage projects.